Welcome to Environmental Products and Services Limited. In this module, we'll introduce you to GreaseShield, our world-class, patented range of fats, oils and grease recovery systems. GreaseShield units are designed to replace conventional grease traps, offering substantial life cycle benefits alongside proven cost savings. These advanced units are specifically engineered to separate fats, oils and grease, FOG, from wastewater, typically found in the discharge from kitchens and food processing units during preparation, cooking, and cleaning. Our detailed life cycle analysis highlights the environmental and economic advantages that GreaseShield brings to food service establishments worldwide. This video tutorial will guide you through the correct methods of installing GreaseShield. Following these guidelines will ensure optimal performance, compliance with environmental standards, and prolonged equipment lifespan. Let's get started. Before setting up the grease shields, always ensure that the pipelines connecting the contamination points and grease shields can withstand the high-temperature water discharge, often from pasta boilers and pot washing stations. How to install grease shield. Step 1. Determine the model. Prior to installing the grease shield, you must ensure that the grease shield model is correctly sized and suitable for purpose. To ensure the grease shield model is accurately sized, please use our grease shield sizing calculator available on our website. 2. Choose the location. The location of the grease shield is designed to be located as close as possible to the source of grease contamination. Please ensure that the proposed location for the grease shield will not hinder the daily maintenance process on both the food waste collection basket and the fog collection container can be removed without any restrictions. Do not install a grease shield in a location where daily maintenance access will be restricted. Please allow a minimum of 150 mm to the right-hand side and the top of the grease shield. This will allow access for service technicians. The GreaseShield 2000 DPF model has adjustable feet feature built in, allowing for easy cleaning underneath and around the unit. These adjustable legs ensure that the grease shield is installed perfectly level, optimizing FOG removal. For other models such as the GreaseShield 1000 or GreaseShield 1850 range, the unit should be placed on a stainless steel hygiene stand to facilitate cleaning underneath and around the area. Step 3. Fit the connections. The GreaseShield has a total of 4 main connections that must be made. 1. The inlet from the contamination equipment to the grease shield. 2. The outlet from the grease shield to the drain. 3. The hot water supply to the grease shield. 4. The power supply to the grease shield. The connections for grease shield units may vary slightly depending on the model and setup. In this example, we are demonstrating the connections for the grease shield unit GS 2000 DPF. Grease shield inlet. When connecting the grease shield, all inlet pipework from the contamination points must be made in 1.5 inches, approximately 40 mm. All pipework must have a sufficient fall towards the grease shield of no less than 1 in 40 and be well supported and clipped to ensure the pipe will not begin to sag over time. Vortex flow control device, designed to regulate the water inlet velocity from contamination points. Please ensure that the vortex flow control device always angled in an upwards direction. Grease shield outlet. The outlet of the grease shield is where the treated grey water will enter the drainage network, free from food waste, fats, oils and grease. The outlet pipework must be done in 50 mm and must have a sufficient fall of no less than 1 in 40 and be well clipped and supported. The outlet pipework is connected to the grease shield using the 50 mm sampling point provided. The sampling point must be fitted at an accessible location with a sample tap pointing downwards at a 45 degrees angle from the floor to allow samples to be taken. For the GS 2000 DPF, there's no need to add a sampling point in the pipeline setup, as it is already built into the system. The outlet line must also have the 50 mm running trap fitted to prevent any foul odours travelling back up the line and into the kitchen. For the GS 2000 DPF and GS 1000 models, the 50mm running trap is built into the system. This means there is no need to add a 50mm running trap to the pipeline setup when installing these specific models. You must also fit an air admittance valve onto the outlet line to allow a good flow of air into the line and ensure that the treated grey water leaving the grease shield can flow naturally and unimpeded. It is important to ensure that the air admittance valve is fitted between the running trap and the drainage point. This will prevent the possibility of siphonage of the water trap. This means that the 50mm running trap effectively prevents foul odours from escaping through the air admittance valve, thereby maintaining an odour-free environment in the kitchen. The grease shield also has a grey hose located at the rear of the unit. This grey hose must also be connected to the outlet line via either a trapped-up stand or, if possible, by statically positioning the 50mm running trap to protect both the grease shield and the upstand for the grey hose. Please note that the upstand must not be sealed as it needs to breathe. The grey hose must also be kept up well above the top of the grease shield when pushing the grey hose into the upstand. Take care not to push it below the static water level to protect both the grease shield. This will prevent the chance of siphoning occurring within the main grease shield tank. Always ensure that the hose clip is securely screwed into position to prevent it from moving. Hot water supply. The hot water supply is connected to the solenoid valve that is located at the rear of the grease shield on the right-hand side. The hot water supply to the grease shield should not exceed 3 bar in pressure and a maximum of 60 degrees Celsius. If the available hot water in the kitchen exceeds 3 bar in pressure, then a pressure-reducing valve must be fitted, and if the unlikely event the hot water supply exceeds 60 degrees Celsius, then thermostatic mixing valve must be fitted in order to lower the temperature. For hot water to the grease shield is made via a 3/4 BSP washing machine hose connected to a quarter-turn washing machine valve. The connection should be made at the proposed location of the grease shield and prior to fitting the grease shield into position. Please note that the grease shield has a Type A B air gap present within the equipment to prevent contamination to the water supply. It's recommended that a double-check valve also be fitted on the line. This double-check valve will make sure the contaminated water from inside the grease shield doesn't get into hot water connection. Connection 4. Power supply. The power supply to the grease shield should be a IP56 13 amp or higher rated socket, located below the counter level. The power supply should be installed prior to the installation at the proposed location of the grease shield. Step 4. Testing the installation. Ensure that a water test is performed. Allow the water to flow into the grease shield, ensuring that the unit directs the wastewater into the drain. Check for any leaks in the pipework or from any other part of the system.